The Spellbinders February Club Kits are available, and they are packed with spring images like bunnies and chicks, but they're also really versatile designs and backgrounds. Everything you need to make fresh new spring cards. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'll be sharing all of the club kits from Spellbinders this month, and I'll make a few cards as well. So first, let's take a look at the new kit clubs for the month of February. First up, we have the 3D embossing folder this month, which is this sweet little bow pattern. Absolutely love those bows. Doesn't matter what color you do them in, they look adorable. This is the embossing folder of the month, which is a nice versatile pattern as well. This is the Better Press of the month, which is a damask. And so I decided to do it edge to edge on an A2 piece of Better Press paper. There's also a registration acetate with this kit. So that means it'll show you exactly how to get that one pattern from edge to edge. So you start on that top. Well, you can start anywhere you want, honestly, but I like to start at the top there so you can see what you're doing, and then move on to that middle piece, which will line up. You'll see the lines right on that acetate. Doesn't matter what order you do them in, just do them one at a time and line them up. I was worried that this one wasn't going to fit, but like it really does. Even though it comes off the edge of the magnetic piece there, it stays on just fine and it works perfectly. So check that out. Edge to edge of that really pretty pattern in a couple of blues, in some pinks as well, and in a dark blue, just to see how it would try out. And I just love how that dark blue looks on the Better Press. So here are the sentiments that come with the Better Press kit of the month. These I am using a black Better Press ink for, and I have them sort of spaced out because there are dies that you get as well, so you can cut them out. Don't forget that those Better Press plates make awesome glimmer plates as well, so you can use them in your glimmer machine and foil them. This is the foil that I received this month. It's a really pretty purple. So for the glimmer kit, it is actually one piece that is those leaves and then a whole bunch of sentiments and some dies. So you can cut out that leaf border and you can cut out two of the sentiments, and the other two are more like sentiment strips. So I did use the die to cut out the leaf, and then I trimmed it down because I didn't do it edge to edge, and that was just because I just didn't get it straight across there. But you can see how pretty those leaves look in gold or in purple, and I love that you can cut out those sentiments for the Better Press and for the glimmer as well. This is the wax seal of the month, and it is another pretty leaf pattern, and the color wax beads that I received this month were fern. Here's the clear stamps and dies. I did color them in with some alcohol markers, and then I got the dies so that I could die cut them out. Here's the small die this month. It is a very unique set. So I have cut out the two shoe pieces out of a glossy black cardstock. I wanted the shoes to look like traditional shiny black Mary Janes. So there's a little bow that you can put on the toe of the shoe, and then I cut this sock piece out of white cardstock, and the sock piece has a couple of pieces as well, and the shoe goes right over that sock. So you can see the little cuff to the sock, and then there's a little buckle that goes on the shoe, and I only put one buckle on because I'm figuring the other buckle is going to be on the outside of the other foot, and so you wouldn't see it. Here's the legs. I cut those out twice and added just a little bit of ink to them to add a little bit of shading. And then there are flowers and stems. So it's very easy to line these little flowers up on top of the stems because the stems are cut out in the shape of the flower, making it really easy to see which one goes with which area of the stem. There's also flower centers, larger flowers, things like that, and then some leaves as well. So you can use those with that small die. This is the free die or free extra bonus goodie if you get the whole kit and caboodle. I'm not showing the stencil this month because the stencil already sold out, so I didn't want to show it and then have everybody be disappointed that they weren't able to get it. So for this little extra goodie here, it's just a little cute chick. This is the large die of the month, and this is a dancing bunny. So it's very easy to put together. There are some white circles that you can put on the back of the eyes and then fill in the eyes with black that have little holes. So it's like the little shine mark of those eyes. There's a circle for the belly and little ovals for the cheeks, and then little areas for the insides of the ears. There's also an opening in the nose, which you can back with a pink piece or whatever color you're making the nose. There are two little arms, and then you can see the leg piece is that dancing piece on the side. There's also a little dress. You can add a cute little collar to it, or there's overalls that you can use on the bunny, or there's a little t-shirt with shorts or pants. So lots of options there, and you can have a lot of fun making a bunch of bunnies on your card. There are also several eggs, a large, a medium, and a small. The large one also goes with some paint that's splattered on top, and there's a little paint bucket that's got a label for the color and some paint that's dripping down on the side. There's a tiny little chick with a little beak and then little legs that go behind. There's also a carrot, lots of cute accessories that you can use with this bunny. There are also little flowers, again, really easy to line up those flowers on the little stems because they put a little circular part at the top of the stem so you can adhere it down really easily. There's a little bow that you can wrap around the egg if you wanted to, or you can use the bow on the bunny. There's also a paintbrush with a couple of pieces, little dab of paint at the end, and then the brush itself, and then the little metal piece that holds the bristles together on the handle, and a large bow that you can tie around the bunny's neck. Whew. Here's the stitching die this month. It is 2 different rectangles that have a nice pierced edge, and then 2 scalloped rectangles that can be stitched, and a small tag that can be stitched just at the bottom. The stitch is very easy. It goes from that center dot or circle to the outside, and then each of those outside is a ray that goes back towards the center. So I'm just doing a very simple back stitch. This is one of those ones where the stitches are not too small, so it doesn't take forever to go all the way around and to create a really pretty background or area to place items on your card. Super, super simple stitching too, so I was able to do this while I was watching a hockey game. Now let's use everything we've created to make some cards. First up, I wanted to use the small die. That's those legs with the Mary Janes and the flowers. So I'm creating a background using some ink blending with Catherine Pooler inks. I have the blue raspberry, which came in the kit for Valentine's Day. And then I have a green that I'm using. I love those large Spellbinders blending brushes because they're super smooth. They make it really easy, even for heavy-handed inkers like myself, to have a light, smooth blend. So if you struggle with lines, and if you struggle with leaning too hard, pressing too hard, that kind of thing, those large Spellbinders brushes are really, really, really helpful. So I'll just pop up those legs and shoes, and I'll have the legs hanging off the top so that I can trim it so that they are flush to the top of that card. And then I'll take a few small foam squares and I'll just tuck the bottoms of these flowers into under the shoe. So I put those foam squares on the leg and on the shoe in the center so I could tuck everything in next to it so it looks like she's standing in the middle of the flowers. For the stamps and dies and the embossing folder of the month, I just cut it in half so I could place some white space at the top where I have my little critters, and then I have a stamped sentiment that says sending spring smiles, and then just a couple of flowers. Those were also from the stamp set, and they also had dies so you could cut them out. So just a really simple card, but I just love those little bunnies and that little chick. They were fun to color too. For this one, for some reason, I didn't catch actually putting it together. So just so you know, it's got the glimmer at the top, the glimmer sentiment as well. It's on top of an embossed background from the embossing folder. And then I have a wax seal over some thread as an embellishment. For this next card, I'm using the Better Press plate that I used in the Glimmer machine with the foil of the month. And I'll just cut that down smaller than 4 by 5 1/4 because I wanted to have it be tied around with some twine and then placed on a cardstock background. And you can see I'm using everything in shades of purple and lavender, which is not a color that I gravitate towards, but I think it's really pretty for spring. And then I'll add a big dot of adhesive, liquid adhesive on top of the knot of the twine and hold that wax seal in place until it is steady. And then use some foam squares to pop up a sentiment, which is also from that Better Press set that you can foil and also die cut out. This next one's going to be even more simple. I basically have the Better Press panel that I cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. I had this piece of cardstock that I had cut a rectangle out of, but I wanted to use, and I didn't have any more of this color at this moment. So I just put some liquid adhesive around the opening area and then placed that Better Press panel on top, and then a sentiment that I stamped. For this card, I have again the Better Press panel, this time the pinks. I'll cut it about in half, maybe a little bit larger than in half, and then adhere it down to a 3D embossed background, and then I'll tie some gold thread around it, wrap it around a number of times. I'm adding some deco color, which is basically a gold paint pen, to the top of that wax seal, just to make the image stand out a little bit more, because those wax beads that I used this time are a very light pink, and I wanted to make sure you could see the leaf design. I'll add a big blob of liquid adhesive, and I have a bunch of the tails of the thread, and I'm wrapping them up so that they look like circles and you don't see the ends of the tails. That will make more sense just by looking at it, I think. But I liked the look of having that kind of wrapped up twine in the background, or thread in the background. And then I popped up a sentiment on some foam squares as well. And that sentiment is glimmered in gold foil. For the next card, I used all of the Glimmer pieces. So I have the leaves that I glimmered in that purple foil and then die cut out. And then I also cut them down to about 4 inches wide. So I have one for the top and one for the bottom, and they get together nicely on the edge, leaving a center space, which fits perfectly a sentiment, which I also foiled in that purple foil and then popped up on some foam squares. For that little chick, that's the bonus die, I placed that on a background of 3D embossing folder in white cardstock. First, I put down some eggs from the large die of the month, and then had the chick standing on top of those, and then had a warm Easter wishes sentiment, which was stamped and then cut into a sentiment strip. And then I added a few flowers on the sides from the large die as well. So cheerful and cute. I just absolutely love that chick. For the dancing bunny, I'm also using the 3D embossing folder. I love this embossing folder, and I'll definitely be using it throughout the year, because this is not just a spring or Easter themed. I love those bows. I think they could be used on a number of cards. So for the bunny, I did decide to cut a bunny in brown because I was using a white background before I decided to ink on top of it. And then I placed the dress on top and her little arms inside the sleeves of the dress as well. And you can see I have all those little elements that I also die cut before. For the dancing legs, there is a hole that's in that circle, and that's where you put the little tiny foam square. Because the 3D embossing folder is high up, I doubled up that foam square. I also like to place a little bit of anti-static powder tool. I'm using the one from This Calls for Confetti, which comes with a little applicator, and you just wipe some of that anti-static powder tool around the edge of the foam square, and that should help keep it from sticking, because there may be some adhesive on the side of that foam square. I'll also pop up those eggs and that little paint bucket, and then put one small foam square under the brush of the paintbrush and then just place it behind her hand there so it looks like she's painting that large egg. I'll put the bow in her ear and the little chick on top of that, and then a few flowers behind the eggs and a smaller egg right on top. So really, really cute to play with all of these accessories and just put them together with the card. They are so much fun, and I could definitely see doing other bunnies with the other outfits. This would just be a great set to do a whole bunch of them together. And then of course she does dance. I don't know about you, but I love the kid clubs this month. I love the adorable bunnies and chicks. They're so much fun. And I really enjoy getting backgrounds like the Glimmer and also the Better Press, because those can be used for cards all year round. But I'd love to hear if anything caught your eye this month. Let me know in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. I literally almost said stay safe, stay hungry. Stay hungry. Okay, and I'm not even hungry right now. I'm totally fine. It's gonna be one of those days.